Okay, we are back and we're here with Kim Melia. Hello, Kim.
Hola.
Hola from Mexico, Lake Chapala.
Yeah.
So I've known Kim Melia for, 10 years, maybe almost 10 years. It's kind of crazy. And just wanted to invite you on here because when we talk about change makers, I've followed you and the things that you've done for years. And it's just, you are one of the defining things that made us want to do this, because you did seek out something where you could have a big impact, and you did. I watched you do it. So can you share a little bit about your background, who you are, and what you've done?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on, first of all. And I love what you're doing. There
Thank
is
you.
so much good in the world today, right? That we need to tell so many more people. So I love this Changemaker channel. I think it's just really cool what you're doing. And for me, well, my background is I'm from Canada originally. I call myself a true North American now because I'm from Canada. I lived in the States for about 17 years, got my American citizenship, moved to Mexico 3 years ago. So I say I'm a true North American. But my background really is I worked for corporate Canada just for a few years. Hated it, got shy of that, said I need something else, and became an entrepreneur for the last 22 years, if not more. And then as I was doing though, Jim, as I was growing up in corporate, I decided that I wanted to do some volunteer work. My parents were big into volunteer work. They just have always said to, help your community out. So I used to work for the suicide awareness hotline. And I worked there on a part-time basis, volunteering a couple times a week, which was pretty cool. And I did some other things. And so when I moved to United States, I started to had a sales force as an entrepreneur, and we wanted to give back also, because I think there's one thing about becoming an entrepreneur, making money, but and living a great lifestyle, but it's not all about you. It's all about giving back, not just to your community, but I think globally too, which is pretty cool. So with that being said, I wanted to do something. So we did the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the Boys and Girls Club. We did lots of stuff with them for many years. And then we started our own nonprofit. We started it as a foundation first for the first few years, and then we started it as a nonprofit. And we built a girls' orphanage in Guatemala. We're a big part in the boys' orphanage that had been existing there for over 20 years. And then we built a girls' orphanage because that's what they wanted. They wanted the brothers and sisters not to be separated, since they were already separated from their parents and their aunts and uncles and whoever else. That wouldn't it be nice if they had an opportunity to at least live near each other? And so I'm happy to say we just celebrated our 8th anniversary. I just went to Guatemala to visit the kids. During COVID times, 9 months, I did not go to Guatemala, which was the longest time in 10 years I hadn't been there. So I'm making up some time right now because I'm going again in a month. So every 5 weeks I've gone now. And so that's just a little bit about my background, kind of how I got started and why I got started in not just nonprofits, but in some charity and community work.
Yeah. So why an orphanage and why Guatemala? Was there something calling you to do that? Was there a pull internally, or was there some outside factor that made you decide to go that route?
Well, let me just go back a tiny bit really quickly. Basically, I was abandoned, I guess, as you could say. I mean, I have a great mother, but I had an abusive father for the first 3 years of my life. And my mom left him, but he pretty much never spoke to us at all since then, which is fine. And so I've always wanted to help abandoned, troubled, abused children. And so did my business partners, who I'm partnered with in the nonprofit, as well as my own business. And we really wanted to help children. And so we were looking for a way where 90% or more of the money goes to the children. Now, I love all these other nonprofits, nothing against them, but I wanted to make sure most of the money went to the kids, not to salaries. And that's why we started our foundation, which turned into a nonprofit. And how Guatemala, it's kind of weird. I honestly didn't even know where Guatemala was. And then my business partner was on an airplane, met somebody, had a bunch of pulseras, which is bracelets, and said, "Why are you wearing so many pulseras?" And he said, "Because I support an orphanage in Guatemala." From that day forward is what happened. He wrote a check for $1,000 and said, "Show me what you can do." He sent him some pictures with kids with new clothes, new, school supplies, and also all cool things. But we said, well, anybody can just prove pictures. Let's go fly out there and see if it's really for real, if this is what we want to do. And we did. We flew out there. My business partner, our niece and nephew filmed it. and happy to say we've been, partners with them for now over 11 years. And it was really one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, is to be part of this, because I really feel like I'm following angels in their footsteps, because the people who own the orphanages, Karen and Eduardo, are serious angels. And if I could be as a little bit of good as they are in this world, I can put my head to rest and feel good about what I do too.
Now I have to ask, was that Mike or Steve?
On the airplane, it was Mike.
I thought I knew that story. I thought I knew
and
that
Steve
story.
was the one that flew with me to Guatemala, though.
I could just hear Mike, show me what you can do.
Right. Exactly.
So, that's amazing. Well, and so a little bit stepping back, that's a big undertaking, and not everybody is in a position where they can write $1,000 check or get on an airplane. So what would your advice be to those that are wanting to do something, but maybe don't have the funds or the resources like you guys had available at the time? How can someone else just take some action?
Well, do what I did at the very beginning, right? The very beginning of my story of really doing any kind of charity work or community work is to be a volunteer, is to find something that you're interested in, whatever that could be. It could be the homeless shelter. It could be a woman's shelter. It could be, I also did like fingerprints and footprints. It was called Child Find, where in case a child was lost, this is how we find them. So just different things, like go and search what suits you, what's your purpose, what's your passion, and go into that and start, because it's not about money, it's about time. And you might say, well, I have the money, I have no time. I have no time, I have money. And I think that loving and caring and showing that you have even a half an hour or an hour a week to give will do you more good than probably the person or the people that you're actually doing it for. It's something about who we are as human spirit. Just when we give, we feel so much better when we can make somebody else smile and make their life a little bit easier. So I would just say, just get started, find something that you think you're passionate about, and eventually it'll go just kind of like mine if you continue on that journey. I mean, really, I had no idea that we were gonna fly to Guatemala, that we'd be part of an orphanage, then we build an orphanage, and then it's a big responsibility to build one. It's a whole nother thing to maintain it. So we maintain it monthly too. So it's a lot.
Yeah. What obstacles or challenges did you encounter? I mean, going from someone else's organization to starting your own, there's obviously hiccups along the way. So what are some of the challenges that you encountered, and how did you overcome those?
Well, I think, we took baby steps, and we made sure that we weren't overwhelmed, and we made sure that we were, every time there was a challenge though, Jim, we made sure that we went back to why we're doing this. We would go back and look at the pictures of the kids. We would watch videos. We would remember that there's a big purpose behind it. It's not just about what we're doing or what we're challenged with, but there are challenges just starting a nonprofit, making sure you file everything properly. Trust me, there's little tiny things that at one time we weren't a nonprofit anymore because we couldn't fill out this one little thing. It's like, so having a board of directors has been a challenge because it's all volunteers. I don't pay my staff at all. We pay one person to help out with social media and do a few other things, and that's it. There's no salaries going on. I don't get a salary. My partners don't get a salary, none of us. And so that's the challenge, having the board, keeping a board of directors, making sure that everybody's doing what they said they were going to do. Second thing is having an ambassadors club if you want one, and making sure that that's running okay. But just the fundraising, I mean, take away that, because that's all volunteer work, which is awesome. And not being the person to be responsible for everything. It takes a team effort, because if something happened to me, I want to make sure that this continues. So, and also, fundraising, that's been a challenge. But I think it's a challenge for every nonprofit. So being creative and think of different ways. We do bingo online since COVID. We've done a Vegas fundraiser that you can have a ticket for Vegas and all these great things, but you don't have to take it till the end of 2022. We do a Super Bowl fundraiser. Even if people don't like Super Bowl, they love to be part of a charity. So we think of different ways. And I think if you're constantly thinking of different ways, creating different ways of doing fundraisers, then you'll find that will be good for you. But we also have a program called the Hogar Heroes, which people pay in monthly. And I think that's our biggest thing that I would suggest if anybody's doing something like we're doing. It's nice to have people pay monthly. And that way you have a surplus every single month that that's coming in. So hopefully that helps. But there's challenges, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yes. Let's talk real quick about impact. And I'm going a little long, so I apologize, but I want to get this. So how many girls have come through the orphanage? What are just some of the things that would make people go, wow, that's a huge impact?
Well, it's funny that you say that because I don't think people really think about it. So you can tell you've been doing work like this. There are 30 girls there now, but over
Wow.
150 girls in 8 years have gone through that orphanage. And there's usually
Wow.
75 boys that are in their orphanage. There's 60 right now, but I don't know the number on that one because I don't have all the stats. But I would imagine, Jim, thousands of boys because that's been around for 20 years.
That's amazing. Well, Kim, I don't know that you ever mentioned the name of your organization. Could you do that real quickly and how people reach out to you?
Sure. It's called workplaylove.org. We work a little, play a lot, and love even more. So workplaylove.org. You can reach out and just get us on social media, get us on our website. We do trips there all the time, like 3 or 4 times a year. So if you want to come and spend some time with us for a couple days, please reach out to me. Actually, we're having a trip in August and one in November this year too. So thanks so much for having us and sharing a little bit about our journey.
Yes, and if you want to make a donation, we are accepting donations for the Changemakers event, and there will be a link there to make sure that that donation goes to Work, Play, Love. So we will have that directly. If you look below, you should see it on the scrolling ticker. But thank you so much, Kim, for being on and for all the work that you're doing.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate you.
All righty. Take care. Thanks, guys. Stay tuned. More Changemakers up next.